Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Chris Finn, and today we're going to talk about the 3 ways that you as a golfer can increase your swing speed, basically, and specifically increase your speed to a degree that you can add at least 10 yards in about the next 10 weeks. So that's the guarantee we give at Par for Success. When we start working with someone and they come into P4S Golf, we are saying 10 yards, 10 weeks. It has a nice marketing ring to it, but it's also science backed. So it's about 3 miles an hour of club head speed. And there's 3 ways that we're going to talk about today that are applicable to every single golfer. And we're going to make sure that you, in the next, hopefully less than 10 minutes, if I do this concisely, can pick up those 10 yards. So 10 yards in 10 weeks, and we're going to talk about it over the next 10 minutes. That's fun, 3 10s. So basically, there are 3 ways you're going to pick up speed, okay? There are, and those 3 different ways are for 3 different buckets of golfers. So think of it this way. The first bucket of golfers has great rotary mobility, has great strength, and they actually have an engine that is bigger and can create more speed and power than what they are actually doing in their golf swing. So think of a great athlete, someone who's really strong, mobile, but maybe not a great golfer, or maybe they're not technically efficient, right? Or they're just not using what they have efficiently in the golf swing. So somebody, maybe because of their physical attributes, should be able to swing 110 miles an hour, but maybe they're only swinging 95, okay? These are the people that you see on Instagram where, like, in 10 minutes, they pick up, 20 yards, okay? Now, unfortunately, that is less than 5% of the people listening to this right now. So the likelihood that you are in this bucket is actually pretty low, okay? So that's bucket 1. We'll talk in a little more detail of each of the buckets, but bucket 1 is you are mobile. You can have the strength necessary to swing faster than what you're currently swinging, and you just are not moving the club faster, as fast as what your engine should be. Okay. Bucket number 2 is somebody who has good mobility, right? And we'll get into the specifics of mobility here in a minute, but they have good mobility and they don't have enough strength to support how fast they're currently going, never mind going any faster. Or maybe they are just kind of tapped out on strength. Okay. So what this means is, and you can actually find all of this in the home assessment that we have at P4S Golf. It's free. It takes less than 5 minutes. Actually, I should say less than 10 minutes just to keep the 10s going, but it's actually less than 5 minutes. It's in the show notes here. So the reason I want to make sure that you guys grab this is because you'll actually be able to figure out which of these buckets you're in. So listen to this podcast, this episode, go take the assessment or pause it, get the assessment now, and then come back and listen to this once you know what bucket you're in, because it'll make even that much more sense to you. But so this second bucket, you basically, you don't have the strength to go faster than what you're currently doing. Either you're tapped out or you actually are probably already swinging. And this is actually most people, you're swinging faster than what you can actually handle, right? So we figure this out by understanding what your lower body vertical peak power is, as well as what your upper body push power. Those are the 2 metrics that statistically are significant in terms of causationally relating to club head speed, meaning if they go up, your club head speed goes up. So think of that again. If your vertical power of your lower body or your push power of your upper body go up, club head speed goes up. Okay. So because of the massive database we have of 12,000 at least golfers at this point, we're able to look at this at a population level and say, all right, based on how much power somebody has in their lower legs or their upper body, we're able to say, hey, this is how fast this person is capable of swinging without hurting themselves. So that's in that home assessment. You actually will see what is your max, your basically your max safe swing speed that, based off of this metric. So bucket number 1, just to review quick, is somebody passes mobility, has more strength than what they're currently swinging. So their safe swing speed is actually below what their physical metrics are saying. That person, we'll talk about the training that person needs to do. The second bucket is this bucket, which you take the home assessment, you pass all the mobility, but you fail the strength. Your strength numbers say, I should be swinging 95, but my club head speed currently is more than that, 100, 110, whatever it may be. you're at risk for injury. You doing like overspeed training, terrible idea. You're going to get hurt. Don't do it. Maybe you've already hurt yourself trying to get faster. Well, this is why. Okay. Now we got the third bucket. And percentage wise of these three buckets, bucket number one is less than 5% of all golfers. Bucket number two is probably, I would say, 80% of golfers. Bucket number three, so I'd say probably 80% of golfers are in bucket, have a combination of bucket, 2 and 3. Number three is literally 95% of golfers. Like 95% of golfers do not pass all of the rotary mobility tests. So you have to have good rotary mobility in your hips, in your shoulders, in your spine, your thoracic spine specifically, which is from the bottom of your neck to your belly button, right? Not your low back and not your neck. And then the fourth is actually your neck, right? So 2 parts of the spine. You have to be able to rotate and pass these tests. So we look for at least 45 degrees in the hip internal rotation. So if you think of that is rotating into your lead leg is internal rotation, rotating into your trail leg in your backswing. That is your internal rotation of your trail leg, right? So you got to have 45 degrees both ways there. Shoulder external rotation. If you think of a pitcher or a quarterback in football throwing a ball, when they cock their arm back, that is external rotation, particularly on your trail arm. A right arm for a right-handed player, the left arm for a left-handed player. We want to see that you're able to get at least 10 degrees. Think of your, I don't want to say radius and ulna because most people don't know what the heck that is. So between your wrist and your elbow, okay, that distal or that further part of your arm away from your shoulder, that has to rotate. You think of that as a straight line. That has to rotate at least 10 degrees back behind your spine while you're standing in golf posture. A lot harder than that sounds. You're like, 10 degrees, that's nothing. It's a lot harder than you think. And obviously in the home assessment, please, I really, really strongly advise you, go look at it. It shows you pictures and videos and how to do all this. And then you obviously have your thoracic spine. So it's like you're sitting in a chair and rotating, keeping your feet and knees together, straight forward. You should be able to rotate at least 60 degrees both ways. And then your neck, you should be able to touch your chin to your collarbone. Now, the faster you want to go, the higher those numbers need to be. Okay. Kyle Berkshire, for example, has hip rotation close to 60 degrees. His trunk rotation is like 80 degrees. Okay. His shoulder rotation is well into the 20s, right? Like the faster you go to avoid injury, the more mobility you need to have because you need to have more. You're going so fast, you need a little longer to slow down. So that's going to give you a bigger injury buffer in order to do that. So those are the 4 rotary centers. So bucket 3 means you fail all of those, but you pass the strength. Okay. Bucket 2 means you pass mobility, but your strength sucks. So you don't pass the strength elements. Okay. Bucket 3 is you pass the mobility. So you're not in bucket 3. You pass the strength. So you're not in bucket 2. And so that puts you in bucket 1, which is you're strong enough. You have good mobility. You actually have a big engine. You just aren't moving as fast as you can. Right. And that's the one we all want to be in. That's the fun one. That's the one where you do some overspeed training and boom, you pick up 5 miles an hour. Right. Like that's the really, really fun one to be in. Unfortunately, most of us are stuck in this mobility bucket 3. Now, the good news is if you do the right stuff, you train, you get the tissue healthy, you do tissue work, you do active assisted mobility, you do active resisted mobility, right? This is all the stuff that should be in a good program. That if you fail those tests, you should be working on those things. And if you spend, what we found is you can do 15 minutes a day, 90 minutes a week. So not even every day of the week, just focusing on those, you generally will see that all of a sudden you will move out of bucket 3 and into bucket 2, or at least have the opportunity to be in bucket 1 or 2 within generally 6 weeks, like on a conservative level. A lot of guys, particularly if you're younger, are going to do it in 2 to 3 weeks. Like it's pretty quick. Okay. So now you've eliminated the mobility. You're no longer in bucket 3. So now let's say you don't have the enough strength, right? That's where then you're looking at squat type movements, hinge type movements, which is like a deadlift or a kettlebell swing. With the squat type movements, that can also be like lunges, squats, sit to stands. Obviously people have bad knees. There's lots of different modifications that you can make, step ups with load like that you can make so that you can get stronger in these positions and in these muscle groups without hurting yourself, right? We literally have guys in their 80s doing squats, but the 80-year-old golfer is probably doing them a little bit different than the 18-year-old golfer, and both of them are doing it differently than the 8-year-old golfer, right? But they're all working on those patterns and getting strong enough for where they're trying to be in terms of their developmental level and what speeds they're trying to swing. Obviously, the faster you want to go, the stronger you should be. Same as mobility, right? The faster you want to go, the more mobile. That eliminates injury risk. The faster you want to be, the stronger you need to go. That also eliminates injury risk. Both of those also increase your max potential safe swing speed, okay? AKA decreases injury risk, AKA equals longevity, AKA equals the point of this whole podcast. And literally the point of my existence and our existence at P1st Golf. So then let's talk about bucket one. This is the one that everybody wants to talk about. This is where there's a massive industry that's evolved with super speed sticks and the stack and the rip stick. And I don't know, there's too many. What else? Orange Whip. There's tons of them out there, right? That have all these different speed products. Now, what I will tell you is if you are in bucket 2 or 3, you don't pass mobility or you don't pass strength, do not go near any of this stuff, guys. It is toxic for you. It will hurt you. I have more data on this stuff than I care to admit of the number of people that we've had to help because they got into this stuff quicker than they should have. They were not appropriate for it. They should have not touched it with a 10-foot stick, but unfortunately we grabbed them and we swung these sticks hundreds of times, and then we hurt our elbows and our back, and now we can't play golf, right? Now, if you do pass mobility, you have the strength, and we're in a point where now it's like, hey, you got a good engine, let's just teach you to go faster. Then all of a sudden, now you can use some of these systems. Now, some are better than others based on what you're looking to do. And there's also what's called transfer training, right? And that's learning how to work on a weight shift, your timing, your efficiency of your sequencing. Lessons are actually a great thing at this point in time for increasing speeds. Those are all the things that you can start to do when you're in that bucket. So the key here, guys, is step one is go take the assessment, figure out which bucket you're in. Once you know which bucket you're in, then all of a sudden now you can direct what you're doing in the gym or at home or wherever you're doing it to where it actually makes sense. You're not wasting your freaking time or putting yourself at risk for getting hurt. That's probably the most frustrating thing that I personally deal with is listening to people talking about all the stuff they're doing. And in theory, it's like, well, yeah, those are all great strength exercises, or those are all great speed exercises or speed, protocols. But you don't move. You can't move. You don't have mobility. You're just why? We try as humans, and I don't know, it's an American thing or just a human thing. I don't know what it is, but we just try to go right to the last step. We skip all the foundational steps, right? We're just and unfortunately, in the physical side of things, that leads to a lot of injuries, a lot of falling short of performance that could be accomplished or should be attainable for you. So anyway, I could go on for hours on this. We'll break this up into other episodes, but what I wanted to talk about in this episode was really just kind of the 3 different buckets that you could fall into. And based on those 3 buckets, if you want to increase speed, if you're in bucket 3, first start working on mobility, get yourself to bucket 2, right? Inherently, you're going to see some speed increase. Now you're in bucket 2, get stronger, right? And as you get stronger, your speed's going to increase. But what's going to happen is all of a sudden your strength's going to get to a point where it's actually faster. Your strength is higher than what your speed is, right? So now you can handle faster speed. So now you move to bucket 1, and now we train speed. And where the best golfers live is this kind of bounce back between bucket 1 and bucket 2. And when your strength gets high enough where, hey, your engine's big enough, then go after speed training, right? Let's push that. And then all of a sudden, once we get that speed starts outpacing the strength a little bit, let's just hang there. Let's maintain that. And let's pick up our strength again a little bit, right? All the while maintaining bucket 3, which is our mobility. And that, in a nutshell, is how you train for longevity in the game of golf while chasing performance. That's how you stay healthy. That's how you get to the next level of whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're a junior golfer trying to play in college, do that. If you're a collegiate golfer trying to play professionally, do that. If you're a 60-year-old trying to play till you're 70 or 80 or 90, the principles of this don't change. The levels of based on how fast you're trying to go and the medical history you have, those nuances obviously matter and come into play, but the principles do not change. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Hopefully you kind of picked up a nugget here or there. Maybe there was one little knowledge bomb that you picked up. But as always, our goal is to try to diffuse any ticking time bombs. Those of you who fail mobility, who fail strength, but just want to go for the speed stuff, like, please be smart about it. Assess, don't guess. Takes less than 5 minutes. Figure it out. Link is in the bio. It is one of the greatest tools for you as you go forward in your journey in the game of golf. And I appreciate you, as always, for hanging out with me here on the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I look forward to catching you on the next episode.